And then the last big thing that came out of the Nintendo Direct was the expansion of the Switch Online experience. So I'm just going to read this straight from Alex Stedman at IGN. So Nintendo is set to expand its Switch Online with new membership offering classic Sega Genesis and Nintendo 64 games as part of the subscription with the new plan. Revealed as part of September's Nintendo Direct, the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion plan will arrive in late October. Subscribers can continue with their existing plan or add the expansion to their plan. The expansion includes all features of the base plan along with a new addition of N64 games and the Sega Genesis games. The N64 games available at the Switch Online launch include Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Yoshi's Story, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Winback Covert Operations, Dr. Mario 64, Sin and Punishment, and Mario 64. Future N64 games include Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Mario Golf, Paper Mario, and F-Zero X. Adam, real quick, what do you think of this expansion and the games that they're offering? Let's start first. Do you think it's fair for Nintendo to charge more for these games?
Absolutely fucking not, because you can do that for free on a goddamn emulator.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm going to start having bones to pick. I'm like, no, from anyone that I know that owns a Switch, all of them tell me that they don't subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online because it's an absolute waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
In the same vein that, like, I know we're going to talk about it later, but, like, I don't know anybody that has a PS Now subscription because it's kind of a waste. It's the same with Switch Online, where it's like, why would I get this? And now Nintendo's got the gall to say, hey, we're going to now have another version of this. It's going to cost even more. And the only thing we've announced for it so far is that it's going to come with emulated games on it.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me, like, there's some cool stuff in there. Look, I'm really, really impressed that of all the things they put in the Sega package, Phantasy Star 4 is on there. That's kind of impressive. I'll give you some props for that. But I don't think it's worth paying extra money to play it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreements with you too. Like, it's hard because I don't feel like the service is great, but they're also charging like what, $20 a year? So like it's not expensive for what they're offering.
But even then, spending that kind of money for basically just playing 20-plus-year-old games, just it seems like kind of a waste too.
But you're playing them on your Switch, which once again comes out with that portable. So now you can play, Super Mario World wherever you are. And so I can kind of get the appeal of that. But I feel like Nintendo needs to, like, their selection needs to be better because a lot of the games that they come out with aren't great. And then, some of them constantly disappear. So I think they have a massive collection. And I think having their N64 games is great. Can I see a justification? Yeah, a little bit, because the price is, once again, pretty cheap. But I feel like the games that they need to have also need to be more permanent and stay longer. I don't think they can have a rotating list of games. I think it should be, we're just going to constantly be adding games to the service as we go.
Can I be an asshole and ask a pertinent question?
What stopped you before?
That's true. If I'm a customer of Nintendo, or if I'm somebody trying to look and purchasing a Switch, and I see that they have an online subscription, and they're about to announce a more expensive version that, as of this moment, only contains older games from like many, many generations ago. As a customer, what does that tell me about Nintendo's present library that they're raising the price to an online service for past generational content and not having anything to do with the present? Because here is PlayStation, guys. We're getting set for potentially a more expensive version of PlayStation Plus that may incorporate apps like Netflix or Crunchyroll or anything to sort of that scenario. And yet Nintendo's doing the same thing right now, and the only thing they seem to be offering at this point are old, really old games. Yeah. So my question is, why should I have to pay anything like that when essentially you're asking me to pay more for stuff that was in the past? It seems like like if Sony came out and said, hey, we're going to give you guys PlayStation Plus, but if you pay us another $10 a month, here's a small select few PlayStation 2 games. We're not talking the entire Super Nintendo library. We're not talking the entire N64 or SEGA Genesis library. We're talking, what, 12 games? Mm-hmm. You telling me that's worth any amount of money? Sure, you might add some more down the road, but what's that number? PlayStation was supposed to add a bunch of their PS2 library, and they put a bunch on, and then they added a few, and then it stopped. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, unless that cost is, like, I don't know, $2 more a year, I don't see how this is anything of intrinsic value and how it says anything other than Nintendo has nothing to offer you, so they're digging into their backyard catalog in the past to try to get you to keep spending money with them.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'm torn. I don't think it's great that they're just adding, like, hey, here's more classic games. Like, I feel like that should be part of the, catalog that you get when you get the system. But at the same time, it is so inexpensive right now that it's not, like, unless it doubles or triples in price, that's an issue. But if it's an extra $5, I don't know.
But then my honest ask will be, give me more than 12 games. Like, if you're gonna make me pay even more money on top of what I'm already paying for emulated games, give me like 100. Give me minimum 100 games. Like, stop giving us this weird thing where, like, they showed us this tiny ass list like it's such a big deal. I'm like, dude, I can play Sonic 2 on a million other things. I don't need your Switch for this.
Yeah.
And again, from a guy on the outside, I look at this and think it's fucking embarrassing. Maybe as a Switch customer, I would have thought differently. I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. Now I can play some of these games on Switch. But as somebody who doesn't own one, I'm sitting there being like, wait, you want me to A, buy your console, B, pay way too much money for games that are multi-years old, and now you want me to pay extra every year just to play your 20-plus-year-old catalog? Why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I gotta be honest, you're kind of convincing me, like, yeah, this is kind of, yeah.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, if they just announce, hey, we're adding these things to the current, the current yearly thing, then we'd have a whole different conversation right now. Because that's what I thought it was. Honestly, I watched the direct hours before we recorded the show because I hadn't yet. I just saw the news that they were adding N64 and Genesis games, and I'm like, that's cool. And then I watched the whole direct, and I heard them saying, oh, here's an extra expansion pass on our subscription service. By the way, expansion pass on a subscription service, what the hell are we coming to?
We call it season pass.
Oh yeah, that makes it so much better. Why don't we just call it Nintendo Switch Online DLC?
Yeah.
Like, I as soon as I heard that, every bit of excitement suddenly just turned to anger. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna make people pay more to play Genesis games. Like, let that sink in, Nintendo fans. Nintendo is asking you to pay more to play games from a prior competitor that you beat. Mm-hmm. We're on the console war train, by the way. You're a Nintendo fan. Don't you hate your competition? Oh, you're okay with paying more money to play the competition? That's an interesting idea. I'm being an absolute prick right now, but I don't care. This is so dumb to me.
I can tell you're fired up.
I'm a little annoyed.
Let's calm you down a little bit. So they announced the games. What games have they not announced that were on the N64 that you hope? Let's say once again they don't charge for the expansion. They hear you and they're like, Adam was right. We're not going to charge more, and they say we're going to release it. What are some of the N64 games that you would like to see them port over to the Switch?
I forget the list. I'm going to try to pull it up right now. But was Pokemon Stadium among any of them?
Pokemon Stadium was not. So I'll give you the list one more time. Super Mario 64. Mario Kart 64. I'm going to stop saying 64, just assume it's there. Star Fox, Yoshi's Story, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time is immediate, and then Majora's Mask is coming. Win Back Covert Operations, Dr. Mario, Sin and Punishment, Mario Tennis, and then Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, Majora's Mask, Kirby the Crystal Shards, Mario Golf, Paper Mario, and F-Zero X.
At that point,
give me your top three. What are the top three games you would like to see them add?
Well, I mean, like I said, Pokemon Stadium would be at least one of them.
Agreed.
At that point, I would pull way off the edge and go to Jet Force Gemini, which was a really, really fun game. And then after that, I mean, I guess GoldenEye.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah, I mean, Perfect Dark as well, but I'm trying to figure what licensing issues might be for those now.
Hey, Banjo-Kazooie's on there, and that's a retro game.
That's true.
Or sorry, rare game. That's a rare game.
But I guess Nintendo reached in and went like straight to like their stuff first, which makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like I say no. Perfect Dark is not. Did I say Perfect Dark?
No, I don't
No,
think. I
Perfect Dark
don't.
is not on there.
No.
No, so I'd say yeah. I'd say probably Perfect Dark or GoldenEye.
If
I'd
I
like
was
to see
doing a
those on
proper
there.
top three, it's basically Pokemon Stadium, Perfect. Actually, no, GoldenEye, and then Perfect Dark. Because I think Perfect Dark is actually better than GoldenEye. But that would be my top three.
Perfect Dark is better than GoldenEye, but I mean GoldenEye was so revolutionary. For me, I'm just taking a quick look. There's a lot of hard ones. I'd feel like yeah, like there's like Star Wars Pod Racing, which is like so good. 1080 snowboarding was good as well for Gemini. I think for me, I'm gonna have to go Pokemon Stadium, Donkey Kong 64, and Diddy Kong Racing.
All right, and to pick one game to make people suffer on, Superman 64.
Yeah, it's honestly, I bet you it'll happen. There's also like Star Wars Shadow of the Empire. Like that one is one I never played, but I'd love to try.
It's actually really good.
I remember playing like WWF No Mercy. I had a babysitter who loved wrestling, and she had WWF No Mercy, and I remember playing that. Oh, there's like Harvest Moon 64. There's no Mario Party games. Yeah, like, ugh. See, I feel like now they're starting to get to like my nostalgia where it's like, yeah, I want to play these games.
Not for an extra amount of money. I don't.
Yeah.
That's what emulators are for. I mean, totally legal ways of playing video games.
Yes, of course. Playing on your original consoles. Ladies and gentlemen, let's know. Shoot us up on. Wow, that's not what I meant. Hit us up on Twitter or on Twitter. Let us know what you thought of the Nintendo Direct, what games you'd like to see, or if you're watching us on YouTube, leave a comment below. What did you think of the conference? Did it sell you on a Switch? And what would you like to see come to the Nintendo Online expansion? What games are missing in your opinion?